Hello, everyone. In this episode of the Beautiful Mind podcast, I'm talking to Sam Altzel. He's a trained mental health instructor with qualifications from FAA, First Aid Awards. Sam suffered from anxiety and depression for 8 years before finally deciding to take action. He's now an author of a book and a co-author of another who's willing to share his knowledge and help the people around him. Sound good? Is that who you are?
Yeah, sounds really good. I can see you've done your research, which is
I
good.
have actually. I went through your entire Instagram, your entire website, and I even looked at the article that you recently published. So let's start with the basics. I know why you are doing what you're doing, but can you sort of expand on that? Because like from what you actually made public, I still didn't find out, for example, what was the exact moment when you thought that this is what you should be doing.
Okay, so the journey sort of unraveled. It wasn't like I struggled with anxiety and panic attacks and depression and substance abuse, and one day decided, haha, I'm going to be an instructor. So through my recovery journey, I started listening to a lot of motivational speeches. I was looking for role models and people who can help me create a different mindset, different approach to life. And that way, Tony Robbins was obviously one of those people. And that's how I got introduced to the coaching world. So it started first, I became a certified transformational life coach and started coaching. But then as my journey progressed, I got involved with public speaking, doing workshops, and I enjoy more working in the classroom environment, teaching people and having debates and conversations rather than being in this one-to-one coaching space. So that's how it developed. And I remember that I went for a workshop that was about anxiety and was run by two people that were organized by organization that was under NHS. So I expected they would be really good. And you could see how all these people who were there with hope went to learn something better, to learn how they can overcome anxiety, but they were very disappointed at the end because, and I don't like talking rubbish about other people because I believe that everybody's trying their best, but let's just say it was not a good value workshop. And at that point, I realized that there is more work to be done, and I probably can use my story to help other people.
You know, literally yesterday, I had a course mate, and I know she is on certain medication because of her mental health. We get along quite well, but sometimes I still feel like she would benefit from somebody at least talking to her about what she's going through. But I don't really know how to start this conversation, and I know you specialize on that. What tips would you be able to give me?
Okay, so that's exactly one of the biggest takeaway from First Aid for Mental Health course, which is we teach how to approach somebody and how to lead the conversation. So first and foremost, you want to choose the right place and the right time. You probably don't want to ask her about that in the middle of the hallway in your campus or in your uni, right? So you want to choose a place where you have enough time, when it's peace and quiet, and then you can talk to her for as long as she needs to. So let's say having a half an hour at least or an hour, depending on your time. You don't want to start this conversation with someone and then just leave them exposed, like when they start talking and expose their emotions, because that can do more harm than good, actually. So thinking about that, think about how you want to start.
Yes,
So
you should lead the conversation and not let the other person just express their emotions. Is that what
you don't just want to ask them about their feelings and then 5 minutes later say, oh, I have to go because I have class, right? Because then you leave them with all of that stuff to deal by themselves, which can be even more detrimental for them. So making sure that you have enough time when you start a conversation, having the right place when you won't be interrupted. Then think about how you want to start a conversation. If that's a good friend or just somebody you know from uni, you might approach them differently. You might just ask, how are you feeling today? And they say, okay, might ask again. So no, really, how are you feeling? Keeping an eye contact, that gives the other person the sign that you're interested in what they're saying, that you're connected. Be mindful of your body language, right? You don't want to sit and say, okay, so tell me about your depression, right? Because that person is probably not likely to open up.
I have seen you walk on broken glass, and I've seen you break an arrow with your own neck.
Yeah.
Why do you think you do that, and why do you choose? I mean, I get why you do that, it feels sort of dangerous. Did it hurt, by the way, to break it with your own neck?
A little bit in the beginning. So these are, let's be honest, these are specially designed arrows and they are not very sharp. Because if you had a
Ah,
normal arrow, you would just go through your neck and just
that's
kill
what I
you, right?
thought.
Yeah, but it's still uncomfortable because this is the softest, sort of one of the
Mhm.
softest points on your body. And when I put the arrow, I'm like, really? Are we doing this? If you hesitate and you have to make a step forward and be committed, then you break the arrow. If you hesitate and you sort of don't know what you do, then it causes you pain, right?
Mm.
So it teaches you to actually make a step into uncomfort to actually overcome the obstacle in front of you. So it just helps me understand that I'm actually strong. I can be strong. I can be confident. I can be resilient, and I can do whatever I want with my life.
Is the qualifications that you that people can access from your website, the FAA qualifications, are they the same thing that you have?
So you can become a first aider for mental health, but if you want to become a trainer, you will have to look for a different organization because I don't train trainers per se. I just teach first aid for mental health.
Uh-huh. And you are what exactly your qualification is? How does it sound?
I'm FAA accredited level 3 first aider for mental health. I've got level 3 teaching qualification. I don't know exactly how it's called. And I'm a first aid for mental health instructor. I've also done some courses around corporate mental health, so corporate mental health facilitator. I've done a first aid for mental health course. So a lot of stuff, but these are the main things that I do at the moment. When we talk about specific subject of mental health or first aid for mental health, it's a shorter course that practically based in a way.
Yeah.
So we don't talk about specific of how human brain works. We don't talk about social psychology, clinical psychology and stuff like that. We talk practically about how you can recognize that somebody might be struggling with something. We talk about the most common mental health conditions.
What is the most common problems that people come to you with?
What I can say is that when people come to my courses, the most common problem is being afraid that I'm going to say something that will cause more harm than good. Or if I talk to a suicidal person, I'll say something to push them over the edge. Or I know that my friend is struggling, but I don't know what to do and how to react and how to lead a conversation. With a certain model that teaches you certain steps. So first, trying to find out if a person is actively suicidal, then using non-judgmental communication and so on and so on. So this course is really good from that perspective because it teaches you practically how you can approach somebody, how you can react, how you can lead a conversation to really make change in somebody's life.
And you're also obviously very good at public speaking, and that's also what you do. And you co-wrote a book about that. Did you teach yourself to do it? Looking at the public speakers that you are listening to, what advice would you give to us, for example, students? Because I am a media production student and we are expected to know how to pitch projects to clients, employers, whatever. What do you think is the most important things about doing that?
So first of all, I would say that just do it as often as you can and as different places as you can. There are things that you can do like Toastmasters clubs. There's a lot of them, so I've been part of a Toastmaster club. It's true, I learn a lot from observing other people. So when I started my recovery journey, almost every single day when I wake up, I would put in a motivational talk, and through that you pick up certain things. But I also been to workshop and speakers clubs and so on. And even if you make mistakes, we're all humans, so turn it into a joke or recover and tell people, oh, sorry, I made a mistake. Nobody is going to say, no, I've got enough, I'm going home. It's part of the journey. So the more practice you can get, the more comfortable you become with it.
Yeah, I literally work on something every day. I've got either uni or actual work, and there are days when I could be doing nothing, but I feel like if I don't do anything, then it's a waste of day.
Yeah.
But even if I'm a bit tired, what sort of mindset does a person need to maybe understand that you just may need to take some time off?
Yeah. Look, I'm one of these people as well because I'm either all or nothing. So I'm quite obsessive when I do
No.
stuff. Yeah, welcome to the club.
I've seen
But
that on your Instagram. You're always up to something.
yeah, I like being active. I have a lot of energy, and when I just take time and do nothing, I just feel depressed, really. But the reality is, if you sat in front of the books for, let's say, 8 hours and had breaks in between, you probably learn more, be less tired, and be more productive.
A slightly unrelated question. I have also noticed that you've removed all your piercings.
Yeah.
I imagine you, especially your septum piercing, was it sort of a tribute to Keith Flint? For some reason, I got that impression.
Man, you really did your research. Respect. Wow, I'm shocked. Seriously, no, Keith Flint is the Prodigy was a really big part of my life. You made me feel really emotional now. Thank you. So the Prodigy was a really big part of my life, and when Keith Flint took his life, that was something. I never thought about it that way. I just always liked piercings, and I wanted to have piercings in sort of quite unusual ways. And I don't know, maybe subconsciously there was some part of that, but I never thought that, oh, Keith Flint has one, I'm gonna have one. But you're actually one of not many people who openly said, oh, you took all your piercings. Sometimes I tell people I removed all my piercings and say, oh, I didn't notice. So yeah. I was always very rebellious, and I think that was part of this, but also realized that it was the beginning of this year. I think that in a way that was probably part of my mask as well, trying to hide and trying to create this persona, and this is who I am, if you like me or not, almost like showing the middle finger to the world, and a little bit of rebellion in that. But I've realized that if I really want to seriously work with businesses and do training for them, gain trust from people and so on, I cannot look like a pissed off teenager in my, being 36 years old.
This was Sam Ortel, a trained and certified mental health instructor. I hope you found this conversation useful and insightful. I certainly have. You can find out more about Sam on his website, samortel.com, or his Insta, Sam Ortel. He can be contacted via his website as well. Remember, you're not who you could be, and don't stop.